I think Peter Bush and Peter Gunker set the pace for catching us up on agendas, and so I feel a little competitive, so I'm going to see if I can keep us on track just the same. I have a whole bunch of slides here, and I'm going to breeze through a bunch of them. I just want to kind of touch on some of the highlights of what NSCC is up to and our involvement with the forest sector and how we're becoming more and more involved with it. So we had a few land acknowledgements go through here in the course of the day. How many of you know? Okay, so the name of the place that we're in, the center, is called Maui Place. Did anybody catch that or notice that?
Yes.
Okay, so who knows what that means? Yeah, so it's gathering. So McMaw for gathering. So this is a gathering place, and I really, really like that. I think it's, and especially, by the way, this artwork is fantastic too. I'm always impressed with this every time I come in here. So we'll skip along through here. You've all heard a fair amount about ecological forestry and the province moving towards that and trying to balance industry, habitat, recreation, all these sorts of things. Triad approach to forestry that's been touched on in a bunch of different presentations. So as the forest industry has been transitioning and the transition fund was created, which Ryan spoke to you about, the Family Forest Network, the Nova Scotia Community College decided to kind of expand upon what it does with and for the forest sector. And so this is a kind of a newer initiative, but we have really, when you think of it, been involved in this industry for quite some time. So in addition to the Natural Resources and Environmental Technology program that we offered, previous to that there was the Forest Resource Worker program. So back when people were cutting 4-foot pulp using skidders and chainsaws more often, we were heavily involved in that training. But then you're also looking at your millwrights, your carpenters, your electricians, your heavy equipment operators, your mechanics, all of these things. Like when you think of the forest sector, it's not just somebody going out with a machine cutting a tree down, or somebody going out and measuring something so that you cut said tree, or things like that. So there's this whole infrastructure that's in place. So in some ways, we're doing some new things with the industry and engaging more, but in other ways, we've been here all the way through. So this little building here is in Truro. This is the Bricks and Mortar Center of Forest Innovation. So that's the actual building. My position with the center is I'm a project coordinator to focus on skills and training development. That's kind of my title, really, because of my background in forestry. I kind of consider myself connector of dots, but it doesn't really look as good on my business card. So project coordinator it is. And so, we have a number of folks in place, and we're actually, even though we do have this main building in Truro, which is an ideal spot because of where the Department of Natural Resources hosts like the majority of its forestry-related staff, its central locations, a whole host of things. Our staff, thanks to COVID and new policies, we're kind of spread out all over the place. So I'm hired out of Truro, but I have an office here at Strait area campus because I live in June, and so I travel a little bit. But we are kind of more of a network. So when I say Center of Forest Innovation, it's as much a concept as it is the bricks and mortar. And I'll get into a little bit more of some of the different things that we're doing. At the center right now, housed, we are offered this year for the first time, our Natural Resources Environmental Technology program out of Central Region. We do offer that. It's been offered here for quite a few years at Strait area campus. Dan Nightingale is one of the instructors for any of you who did the chainsaw stuff. And then we have a program at the Bridgewater campus as well. Our COGS campus, or campuses in Middleton area, we cover a lot of GIS and GPS stuff, so forest measurements and things like that. So again, we've been involved for a while and have a lot of different programs on the go. This team has expanded since this PowerPoint presentation was created. Didn't have the time to update it. So some of the major elements of the center, we have our core college programs. So I mentioned we'll call it NRET program, Natural Resources Environmental Technology. We have student bursaries, applied research and innovation, and then we're building out some micro-credential courses and obviously some sector partnerships. You've seen a lot of presentations where NSCC is a major partner in a lot of the initiatives that are going on across the province right now. This has been our flagship program for the last number of years, as I mentioned. It's a 2-year program. It was born out of the changes in the industry. So where previously you had the forest professional sort of program with more hands-on chainsaws and skidders and all of that sort of stuff. As the industry transitioned, so did the offerings from this school. And we also recognized at the time when this program was being created that we wanted to do something that expanded beyond the scope of what you would call just traditional forest technology, because we have a College of Maritime Forest Technology with Gareth Davies is the academic chair. He's here today. Pick his brains, a very smart man. We wanted to make sure that we had something that was a little more encompassing of different aspects of natural resources and environmental management. So a lot of our graduates end up working for Unimac Institute of Natural Resources, or Department of Environment, or they get into fisheries, or some of those crossover, like there's conservation enforcement. We have some grads that for Hawkesbury paper, and so there is a little bit of forestry there, but it just kind of broadens the opportunities for the students. We're really excited. So this is kind of one of the things that came out of the Leahy transition and innovation fund and all that sort of stuff. A recognition that with a new type of forestry, or even though you didn't have policy change, it's just technological advancements and scientific advancements. Like, never mind all the new policy and stuff in Nova Scotia. Just the sheer fact that we're constantly learning about how to manage forests, and technology is constantly changing. We have better and better ways to do things. We felt that it would be necessary and helpful to have a forest geomatics and biometrics technology 1-year advanced diploma program. So this is for people who have university degrees or technical diplomas in a natural resources related field. And so we'll break that down a little bit. Straightforward: geo, earth, matics, measuring, and calculating. Okay? And so this is just kind of teaching people how to use advanced technologies and advanced techniques for doing this sort of work. When you look at, so when I look at my former position with Port Hawkesbury paper, I'm intimately aware of all of the information that needs to be collected in order to cut a single stick of wood on Crown land. And as each of these policies compound, you're expected to collect more and more information, but the cost of doing that increases, and the price you get for your wood does not increase. So you have to become more and more efficient, and the best way to do that is to make sure that you're on the cutting edge when it comes to the techniques that you're using. So it's just a branch of science that's really it's amazing how advanced this is. I mean, you can identify tree species and calculate volumes from the comfort of your own home. I was at a presentation recently. There was an MIT grad who created an AI program, a piece of hardware that you put on your back and you walk through the woods. And as you're walking through the woods, it's digitally mapping all of the woods around you and giving you your volumes and your tree species, and it's just absolutely out of this world. And all you have to do is walk through the woods and collect the data. Biometrics, again, life, measurement. So geo, earth, measurement, life measurement. So you're measuring all the things out in the woods, and you're measuring your landscapes and all the differences in terrain and so on and so forth. So when you look at, whether you're doing biodiversity assessments or trying to get a handle on old growth, or determining, where your species at risk, and trying to compile all of this information, making sure you have the correct information, making sure that you can interpret that information and make effective management decisions, you really need to be on the cutting edge of all of this to ensure that you're making the right decisions and that you're doing something cost effective so you can actually afford to do it. Because we do have a lot of lovely ideas out there, but they're not always practical. So, some of the courses that would be covered in the program: forest ecosystems, geospatial fundamentals. I'm not going to go over all of that unless any of you are interested in enrolling. And I can tell you're all keen on getting a college diploma right now, aren't you? And Peter, I'm looking at you. You can get more education. Yeah, well, you too. Yeah, you guys will be classmates. We have a new dorm out there.
We'll be.
Yeah, make a sitcom with it.
Well, I'm looking for a side hustle for teaching.
Well, there you go. Well, come see me. And that's a good segue into ecological forest management technology. So this is another advanced diploma. It's still being built out. We don't have all the guts of it. But again, it's predicated on changes and advancement in forest management in Nova Scotia. And we just want to make sure that people have the skills. So our grads coming in have the right skills, and anybody who is in the industry are able to upskill or right skill for the jobs that they're going to be doing. We certainly don't want to see somebody no longer able to do the job because of changes in legislation or changes in technology, and for them to not have the tools to continue on doing what they love to do. Again, just briefly, we have a variety of student bursaries and awards to give out. So tell us to your grandkids, your neighbors, your cousins, whoever you think might be interested in coming to programs here. There is a variety of eligibility criteria, but we can help, right? So we want to alleviate the financial burden for people who are interested in furthering their education in natural resources and forest management. Delving a little more into research and innovation, this is, again, not new territory for the college as a whole, but somewhat new for our forest sector. So we're working with groups like MyTax, which is a grant funding organization, Research Nova Scotia, a whole host of other folks. The long and the short of that is that there's a bunch of dollars available to research and flesh out some of these ideas that people have in terms of innovation in the forest industry, whether it's sustainable forest products, natural energy. Basically, if you have a good idea of something for applied research, so not just like why is the sky blue, but like how can I do this, or you're doing a comparative analysis between, I don't know, harvesting heads for commercial things, or whatever the case is. There's like practical research that will result in improvements in how you manage forestry. There are a lot of dollars available for that, and some exciting programs coming down the pipeline. Career pathways, again, this is just kind of something we do in the background, and helping people try to navigate what direction they want to go in, and depending on their interests. So you might have an interest in forestry or the forest. I know when I started, I wanted to be a game warden. I thought it'd be fun to drive around checking fishing licenses and stuff like that. And my guidance counselor at high school sent me to UNB to study forestry. And I didn't know the difference between a spruce and a fir at that point. Back in 1995. I've learned a few things since then, and never did get into conservation enforcement. So it's important, like when you have people who have a passion or a penchant or an interest in forest management or being outdoors, that they follow the right pathway. And so we're trying to help with that. This is more applicable to continuing education, what we call micro-credentials. So, as example, when I did the Avenza talk today, it's kind of prompted an idea that maybe I'll do we can put together a micro-credential GPS course for Woodlot members. Or, like there's a whole host of different programs that we can put together, and we have funding available to build programs to fulfill a series of demands or whatever people are interested in. Partnerships, we love everybody. I'm not going to go into all the list of everything. Work integrated learning, this is something that we're really happy with. We have a couple of dollars available right now, and it's kind of tied into the Forest Innovation Fund. So, for our students, $15 an hour, 35 hours a week, 5 to 15 weeks job placements. So we've helped a couple of students get jobs. Like we're paying our students, or paying employers basically, or part of the cost for our students to have internships. Because that's kind of a bit of a stumbling block for some programs where you go through a diploma program, you need a 5-week work term, but you can't afford it, and it causes problems. Well, we're trying to address that to further help the workforce. A little more involved with the Canadian Institute of Forestry. We're certified by, or accredited by Eco Canada. No, look at that.